This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP, July 26th, 2018.
Yo, Denver City life living every night getting it. All I see is green like it's night vision. My sight's different. My type driven. These niggas risking a life sittings over white flipping, but I ain't with it. I'm light skinned it. My mind gifted, intelligence in my disposition, aristocratic image, and not to mention I'm nice with it. The ice drip over cardigan sweaters, tight fitting, white linen. This is the type of shit that entice women. The fly shit that I'm on is passing the sky's limits. Why it's not surprising to see that all of these guys live it. I vivid, solemnly swear the rhyme exquisite with the time I'm giving. My mind flying, defying physics. I stay smooth like sipping out of champagne flutes. Always way cool, but it ain't a thing, just a flame cruise. You lame dudes, this that shit that you can't do. That's why your main boo steady watching me how I make moves.
My high city life got me way above the clouds. Paint the audience a picture every time I draw a crowd. I hold my weight with these bars, so make no mistake. I get to cooking like Chef Curry in Golden State. I'm motivated, I'm taking off, moving vertically. Saying that they were seeing me lyrically, that's absurd to me. Virtually murdering MCs on purpose. Cutting their body parts into pieces is verbal surgery. You say you hot, but you ain't burning to the third degree. Time to bring some urgency in the state of emergency. There's no comparison to us, that's way embarrassing. Making something from nothing like ancient Native Americans. Man, listen, I'm undergoing a transition. My transmissions are filled with nothing but ambition. No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse.
No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse. No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the
Welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with your boy KP. How's everybody doing on this Thursday? Week is rounding out. Everybody, you can see the weekend. You can see the end in sight. It's right there. It's staring in your face. You're making plans. Some of you are sitting there right now trying to figure out, how can I get out of work tomorrow? I'm going to make my weekend extra long. Maybe I'm going to call in sick on Monday. You're looking so forward to that weekend. I say to you, go ahead. Look forward to your weekend, but make sure you finish this week out strong. Give everybody your best. Find that person who needs your help. Put a smile on somebody's face. Help somebody you don't know. That is the public service message for today. Not really. We got a lot of stuff to talk to. Some generosity going down. Nate Burleson doing a great thing there up in New York City. We're going to talk WWE, historical moment the other night as they unveil the plans for an all-women's pay-per-view. That's huge, especially in this world and sport of wrestling, sports entertainment. We're going to talk about the Jerry Boys and what Jerry Jones is doing his best to take away all that value he has accumulated for the Cowboys since he purchased the team. John Gruden, we're going to talk about his comments, what the Raiders got going for him a little bit. You know, the other day, the show got cut short. We didn't get time to get into everything. We didn't get the time to talk about Tiger Woods or Major League Baseball expansion or some of the other things I had planned for the show. So we're going to try and make sure we get to everything today. The guaranteed money, arrogance, and ability. We're going to try and get to the Major League expansion, talk about some stuff that's going on in baseball for sure. We got the Fantasy Football League, the third annual Fantasy Football League coming up for Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. That information is on the website. If you go to realdealsportstalkwithkp.com, you can find a link there to where you can register. It is through NFL.com. The league ID is 616-4249, and the league password is OnePride. All of that information is on our website, so if you want to join into the third annual KP Showdown, get on to it. Get yourself signed up. Spots are limited, as you know. But let's get into the show because I want to get to as many of these stories as we can today. And I want to start off with Jerry Jones and the Jerry Boys. I don't know what this guy is doing. I can understand everybody's opinion and everybody's feelings about patriotism and national pride. I really do. I understand it. To have pride of where you're from, to care about where you're from, to care about your community and the people around you. But right now, what I'm seeing is not that. Actions speak louder than words, correct? The actions are not matching the words of these people who want to claim they are patriots, who care so much about this country, but only want it to be through their scope and through their eyes in the land of the free. And they want to take away rights and limit the way rights can be used in the wording of the rights because there's play in the language. And Jerry Jones has let everybody know how he feels and what side of this debate he is on. His players will toe the line. They will stand for the anthem. They do not have a choice. Well, guess what, Mr. Jones? Currently, you are the highest valued franchise in any sport in the world. That number you will not continue to have. You just lost it. Because what's going to happen, these players that are coming up, these players that have some social interest now, that are developing this social consciousness, this wokeness, they're not going to want to come play for the Cowboys owner. They might grow up, that's their favorite team. Right now, kids, Ezekiel Elliott's my favorite player. Yeah, Sean Lee, Jason Smith, Dak Prescott. But when it comes their turn, they're going to be like, oh yeah, Jerry's the owner still. He's that guy who showed that he doesn't care about us. That his views were more important than us as people. And not only did he come out and make those statements that, you know, he's a Trump supporter, obviously. He you know, we've heard his comments the last time Trump started tweeting. He's tweeting about it again, so of course we hear from Jerry. But now he comes out and says he's not going to eliminate his partnership with Papa John's the way the rest of the NFL did. He's going to go down with that ship too. Which isn't a surprise. He is heavily invested in that company. He is the biggest, largest investor in Papa John's. Now Papa John, he's suing the company for kicking him out. Well, man, what would you do? If that was somebody else on your executive board, you would have outed them too. So now you mad that this company you built, that you acted the fool and got caught at a time where people aren't dealing with that kind of stuff no more? They're not just sweeping it under the rug and going, okay, they're doing something about it. You gonna come back and get mad about it now? Man, you got millions of dollars. Start another company. You got plenty of racist people out there that are gonna follow you. You got plenty of stupid people, ignorant people, sheep out there that will follow you. Just start another one. That's the American way, right? That's what rich people do. You go bankrupt or you lose your thing and you just pop off another one. While the rest of us, we got to go to work and we got to deal with it. We got to put a smile on our face. We got to be stronger. We got to be humbler. We got to help. We got to reach out. We got to vote. We have to develop that sense of community and come together again and stop fighting and hiding behind all of these fears and insecurities and letting these people prey on our emotions and divide us. I know this is a sports show and I was talking about Jerry Jones and what this is going to do to the Cowboys, but this really is a people thing. It's not just a sports thing. This is just another reflection of what is going on in society today. It's unbelievable. It's unacceptable. We're better than this. Or at least we're supposed to be. And personally, I do think this is going to hurt the Cowboys. I think this is the dumbest thing he can publicly come out and do at this time. He might as well come out and start talking against women and calling them hoes and that they only have two jobs, and that's to cook and serve their man. And just, blow the whole thing up, Jerry. Because your business is based on, mostly, African American men making you money performing on the field. And you're telling them your opinion and how you feel about something is more important than who they are as people. So in my opinion, this is the day the Cowboys died. They are the Jerry boys. Jerry's boys. So fall in line or do something about it. The NFL should not have adopted this policy to scapegoat the players without speaking with the NFLPA and developing a system that worked for everybody. It's ridiculous. It really is. Almost as ridiculous, well, no, more ridiculous, I guess, than John Gruden's comments. 10 years, $100 million contract coming out of the booth. He says if he can't get it done, he won't take their money. Yeah, right. Like he's going to go, oh, okay, let me see. It's year 3. Let me see. How much money have you paid me? Okay, let me cut a check for that. Because, I just got money sitting around like that. Now, to his point, he should be able to get it done. Just like when he went to Tampa and was able to get it done. This is a team that has talent on their roster. Derek Carr is better than his performance last year. Everybody wants to say he took a step back. Don't forget, he broke his back early in the season. He came back after 2 weeks and played the rest of the season. So, psychologically, he's dealing with that back injury the entire season. That does change how you play. Your offensive line was not as good as they were 2 seasons ago. So not only is that back messed up, and you have to try and compensate for that, but now you don't have the protection that you had when you looked so amazing just the year before. His skill set didn't drop. He did not get worse. The Raiders were not as good last season. But you have Derek Carr, okay? At the running back position, you bring in a Doug Martin. Okay, let's see if he can stay healthy. What can he give you? At times, he's been really good. Marshawn Lynch is still there to give you that veteran presence. Like I said last year, don't expect a lot out from him. He didn't get hurt by week 6 like I thought, but he wasn't this, 1,000, 1,400-yard rusher, 10, 12 touchdowns. He doesn't have that anymore. The tread is on those tires. But you do need a banger, and he's a banger. He's a grinder. He's going to fight for your team. So you got something. You got DeAndre Washington. You have some pieces there in the running back room. You look at the wide receiver room. You got a whole lot of wide receivers on the roster right now, but you got some guys. Jordy Nelson is still going to be good. I think he's going to be a great piece for Derek Carr. Dwayne Harris is going to be more than likely your return guy. Martavius Bryant, if he doesn't get suspended, he's a huge target for a guy like Derek Carr. Amari Cooper is still there. You bring in a Ryan Switzer to be your scatty back, maybe help him in the return game, punt game type guy. You have a Seth Roberts. You have some other guys, who knows? They're going to mix it up. At tight end, Jared Cook comes over. You got some guys who can block. Nothing great at tight end, but solid. Decent offensive line. Getting a little up there in age. You bring over Rodney Hudson. What's his name? Gabe Jackson is still playing. Donald Penn's still there. Kelechi Osemele, we'll see if he starts to develop more into that guy. You have the rookie Colton Miller, who should be a solid right tackle. They might try and put him on the left and push Penn out the door, as he's an older tackle, 35 years old. Gabe Jackson. I told you they have Kareem Hunt. And then on the defensive side of the ball, of course, Khalil Mack, Frosty Rucker comes over, great veteran. Bruce Irvin hasn't been who they thought they were going to have as he came over. Tank Carradine comes over from San Francisco. Mario Edwards is still developing. He'll be a nice little defensive end for him, I think. Maurice Hurst, if he's able to stay healthy with that heart, he dropped in the draft. He would have been a first-round guy had it not been for this heart. And if the heart works out, that's going to be a solid pickup for the Raiders. Tahir Whitehead coming over from Detroit, severely underrated linebacker, can cover okay, decently, great in the running game, side-to-side type guy. He's better interiorly, I think, than as an outside backer, but we'll see how the Raiders use him. Derek Johnson comes over from Kansas City. He's a much older guy, 36, but could offer some good leadership to that room. So he could end up, I mean, I see him kind of as a camp cut, but we'll see what happens there. On the back end, okay, maybe on the back end of their defense, they could use some guys. Carl Joseph is there. I really like him. I thought he was going to play a little better last year than he did. He didn't quite get there. They have the rookie Tevin Mitchell out of Arkansas. It's a work in progress. They still have the corner last year from Ohio State, Garen Conley. He should be, didn't play, but he's there. So defensively, that secondary is going to be helped out by the front. I mean, their pass rush, if they're able, the linebackers, combination defensive ends are able to get in there. Leon Hall is there. Marcus Gilchrist is there. Reggie Nelson is still there. But he's getting old, 35. Leon Hall's 34. They could go veteran and hope that the front seven is going to help them out enough. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting. But with that roster, yeah, John Gruden should be able to get it done. Now, if he means I'm going to win a Super Bowl, okay, no, the roster's not quite there yet. But if he means get it done, like improve upon last season and return the Raider way as they move into this venture in Las Vegas and they move into the Las Vegas Raiders, then yeah, you definitely should be able to get it done with that roster. Now, again, he ain't giving no money back. Nobody's going to give no money back. So the statement was, just ridiculous. It's John Gruden, and people love to report on what he says. But really, if you think about it, it's just silly because he's not going to give money back. He's not going to sit there in 5 or 6 years and go, you know what, we were 8-8, then we were 7-9, then we were 10-6, then we were 4-12. I'm going to give you $50 million back. I ain't get it done. Let me walk away. That's not going to happen. He's not giving $100 million back. He's not giving a dime back. Now, he might not be there for 10 years, but he's not giving no money back. And the Raiders should be pretty decent. When we get to the AFC West, I'll break them down a little more and give you my prediction and stuff like that. But we're not quite to the AFC West. All right, let's move into some generosity stories. I'm really high on these recently. I don't know why. Maybe it's dealing with people that have mental illness and seeing the world and all the struggle and the strife. Maybe it's wanting the best for people. Maybe it's growing up and maturing, becoming an adult. Maybe it's just age and experience, empathy. I don't know. But stories where people are doing right by each other and helping each other out, whether it's a kid or an adult or whatever, an animal, helping an animal, doing their thing to do right. Choose the hard thing. Maybe it's easy. Maybe I don't know these people. But in life, the hard thing is generally the right thing to do. The easy thing is generally the wrong thing to do. It's time to go walk the dog. Oh, I don't want to. I'm going to sit here. That's the wrong thing to do, but it was pretty easy. The right thing to do would have been to get up, even though you're not feeling it, put your shoes on, and take the dog for a walk, as an example. So I've been liking these stories. I've been liking seeing these videos on social media, especially with the time that we're in right now. And this one, the other day, Nate Burleson is walking to the former NFL wide receiver, played for several teams, works in New York, Good Morning Football for the NFL Network, and he's walking to the gym, and he's got the film crew with him. And he stops at a place where they were going to do a shoot of some kind, and he had his gym bag with him in his tennis shoes because he's going to go work out. And he starts talking to this guy, finds out it's his birthday. Doesn't know this guy, nothing sticks out about him really. And they just get to talking, and Nate hooks him up with the shoes that he had. They just happen to fit, and he encourages them, let them know how good they look, get a little sock game going, and he makes the guy feel good. He touches his heart, and the guy really can't believe that Nate's giving him up his sneakers. Because, certain people, sneakers, that's a culture. That's a thing. They're expensive. And it meant a lot to this guy. And he wasn't very old. He might have been early 20s, mid-20s maybe. But it meant something to him. And it was really cool to see. And it made me think of this video that I had just seen on social media. It was a woman, maybe some of you have seen it. She did a Facebook Live and told a story of a homeless man that she had seen outside of a convenience store. And he asked her for some money, and she said she didn't have any. And when she got home, she turned on her Facebook, and she sees this post of teenagers pouring scalding water onto a homeless guy who was asleep. And it happens to be the same guy she had just seen. And it tore her up inside because she knew that she had lied to the guy. Not only did she have some money, she had $53 in her wallet. And she knew that the right thing to do, and this would be hard for a lot of us, was to go back, own up to her lie and her mistake, and apologize for it. So she went back to the guy. She got him to remember who she was. And she apologized and said, looked him in the eye to a man and said, I lied to you. I'm sorry. I did have money. And I will never do this again. I feel so bad. Because you didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve what those kids did to you. That was horrible. And I want you to have all of the money in my wallet. And where that may seem silly to some of you guys, actions like what she did and what Nate does and things like that, there is an effect to that. Those people then went on and did something nice for somebody else. And if we all do more of that, we're going to have a better place to live. Raise our kids. Watch sports. And it affected me to the point I saw the video of it. And I'm driving yesterday in Denver, and I stop at a corner, and there's a guy there, sun beaten down, just dirty. Tell he's having a hard time. He's got his sign. He's trying to get some money. He's hungry. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't have no money. I have nothing to give him. And I do like most people, and I turned my head and stared down the street. But then it hit me. I remembered the video. I remembered how that made me feel watching it. And I went, wait a second. It clicked in my head. I do have something. I have my lunch with me. So I rolled my window down, and I gave the man my lunch. I hope that maybe, it fed him for the day. Maybe he shared it with a friend. I don't know. But I hope it helped. Maybe somebody else saw me giving and gave to him as well. But sports, it's just, sports is a part of life. This is life. That's real. That's where we're at right now. This show, we've talked, a lot of life with sports intervened so far. But that's real. That's what it is. Fans all have stuff outside of the field, all outside of the team. The players all do stuff outside of the team. Life goes on. This is an aspect. Sports is part of what we talk about. And I'm not going to sit here talking to you guys and not try to promote that positivity. Try and promote helping. Trying to promote being better. Real talk. All right, back into sports. Guaranteed money. Guaranteed money in the NFL. It's starting to fly around now. Well, at least for the rookies. Baker Mayfield, first pick in the first round. He gets another rookie fully guaranteed contract. $32.8 million? Roughly $32 million guaranteed as a rookie. Hasn't stepped on the field yet. So him and Saquon Barkley, guaranteed money, 1-2 picks. This is going to change the landscape of the NFL. Now, I theorized the other day, how could this affect the signings of a Le'Veon Bell or a Todd Gurley? Well, we can see now, not so much with the Todd Gurley, because where he does sign the biggest deal for a running back with $45 million guaranteed in the contract. The contract was for 66, right around there, something $million. So he didn't get fully guaranteed money where these two rookies just did. So it's not falling into place for the veterans yet because their money's a little different. His 45 is higher. Okay, Todd Gurley should be making more than guaranteed money than just $13 million more than these two rookies that have never played. Never been on the field. Haven't been on the field yet. Saquon Barkley, $31 million guaranteed as a rookie. Todd Gurley got 45. This will affect, if the rookies continue to get fully guaranteed rookie contracts, you are going to see more veterans have issues with their contracts. Todd Gurley wanted to get his done. I'm surprised their Rams are getting all of these contracts done and have not got Aaron Donald's done yet. Now, they say they're going to get it done. They say they're working on it. They say it's a focus of theirs. So we'll have to see if that really comes to fruition or not. But guys are starting to get paid in the NFL. It could affect the game, the whole game negatively. Maybe we start losing some of this parity we see in the NFL where teams can go from worst to first. You know, like maybe the big markets all of a sudden start taking over again because they have more money to get these guaranteed contracts out. Now, with the revenue sharing in the NFL, it would be hard to make that happen. You're not going to be able to put together a Golden State without drafting it into the NFL. You can't bring in a couple $30 million players in free agency. And yes, I know Boogie's not making $30 million, but he would have if he would have gotten a big contract and not had the Achilles injury. So good for Todd Gurley. I'm glad he got his deal done. He can just go out there and play now. He doesn't have to, think this whole season on his last rookie deal what's going to happen. Or, not his last year in his rookie deal. This next year in his rookie deal, what's my contract situation going to be like moving forward? He now knows I'm locked up. I have this money coming to me. I've got 4 years now until I got to think about it again. Baker Mayfield, congratulations, sir. You were my top quarterback in this year's draft. So you got yourself fully guaranteed money. Other quarterbacks out there making news, of course. Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if the money and the hype is getting to him, all of the attention. He's a handsome guy. He's an athletic guy. He seems to have a good skill set. He learned well in New England. Maybe not well enough, to each his own. It doesn't matter who you date. It doesn't make her a bad person because of the job that she has. But he, big story. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo on a date with a porn star, adult film actress. Okay, both attractive young professionals, doing their thing. No judgment. It is what it is. Maybe not a good look for your franchise quarterback. Maybe you'd like it if, because of the public opinion, which we all fall to, we all bow down to, and entertainment bows down to, and companies try and manipulate. You'd be like, could you have your date with her more privately? But now it goes up a notch. He goes out and says he's better than Tom Brady. He always felt he was better than Tom Brady. Now, I didn't read the article. I've listened to the story on ESPN and the story on CNN and talk radio talking about it, and read some little posts here and there. So I don't know the full scope of all the context that goes into the statement. But I have to imagine that when he says he's better than Brady, it has to be something like, I know I'm more mobile than he is, or more athletic. Because you don't know mentally if you're better. You don't know if you can go out and perform on the same level he did on the field. You don't know what you're like in crunch time. You haven't been to 8 Super Bowls. You've won 7 games. Sure, you've only played in 7 games, so everybody's like, wow, look at how great this guy is. Look what he did with the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, and he won 6 straight, and that team didn't have a win until he started playing. Hype. Like I said the other day, he could lose his next 20 games. He could end up a career bust. He could get hurt this season and be done. They gave him money based on what they think might happen. Potential. You don't pay potential. Potential gets you in trouble. Ask the Detroit Lions. Ask Matt Millen, who, by the way, go ahead and get healthy. We do forgive you for what you did to the Lions. It's really horrible what you're having to deal with right now. But potential. You draft all those giant receivers, you think the potential is an unstoppable offense. The potential looked amazing. Look at the potential. Well, potential lost the Lions 16 games because they didn't have any players to play by that season because all they were drafting was receivers. Now, maybe that doesn't happen with Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe the skill set does transfer. He blends perfectly with Kyle Shanahan. They're able to get the right playmakers, the right offensive line, get a running game together. The defense grows up together. And it all works out. Good possibility. That does not make you better than Tom Brady. You have a lot to prove before you are going to be better than Tom Brady. You do have a strong arm. You do seem to have learned very well from your time in New England and, learned how to read tape and defenses and study and put in the work. You were picked by a guy who picks a lot of quarterbacks. As far as accuracy, I can't say you're better than Tom Brady there. As far as toughness, mental toughness, leadership, doing it for 17, 18, 19 years. I mean, come on. You should still want to be on his level, not thinking you're above his level, bud. Your football IQ, you just don't have the experience. You haven't seen enough of the things that Tom Brady has seen to say you're better than him. You haven't been in the situations. So all you could be thinking about is your ego and how you're more athletic than him, and he's more of a stand-up. He's a little more stiff than you are, not quite as fast as you are. Maybe he doesn't have as strong of an arm, but it's pretty close if it's not. So in my opinion, somebody needs to get with Jimmy, and I think I saw that he said this has all been a learning lesson for him, but somebody needs to get with him and tell him to cool his boots. Okay? Get with him, tell him to calm down, get back to what made you a hype machine, go out there, play, and just get better. Like, cut out all the nonsense, right? All the nonsense. Other stuff that's nonsense is this idea of Major League Baseball expansion. I talked about this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, where I talked about how baseball would probably be a better product if they got rid of some teams. Then maybe some of these smaller markets could have some better players. You wouldn't have most of the guys going to big market teams where all the money is because it'd be more spread out. Maybe baseball needs revenue sharing or a hard cap. I don't know. But the idea of expanding just to make more money in different markets is ridiculous to me because your product is already watered down at the top level. And they're talking about Portland would be good, Vegas, Charlotte, Nashville, Montreal, Vancouver, places in Mexico. Manfred talked about all of this, the commissioner. And I'm like, how about you get the small markets here? A Tampa Bay team who is planning on building a stadium, but they get no fans to come out unless the visiting team is, the Yankees or the Red Sox or some big club, the Dodgers, somebody who's got a fan base. Get that team to be successful before you decide to stretch out how many players are in the league and water the product down, in my opinion. I mean, right now, look at the standings as we are right now, just after the All-Star break. Big market teams, Boston and Yankees, 71 wins, 64 wins, leading the AL East. Small market teams, pretty much all in the Central, Cleveland, Minnesota, the Tigers, White Sox, big market, and the Royals. Okay, top winner in that division, 55 wins from the Indians right now. Houston, okay? Houston is not a big market, but it's a big market. It's close to Dallas. Texas is a big sports. They just won the World Series. They've been in 2 in the last, 10 years. 67 wins. The Mariners, not a big market, 61 wins. Philadelphia, big market, 57 wins, leading the NL East. Chicago Cubs, big market, 60 wins, leading the Central. Dodgers, leading the West, big market. Almost across the board, you have the big market in every division leading. And then you have small markets with no wins. Kansas City Royals, small market, 31 wins. Baltimore Orioles, small market, 29 wins. Who else? I guess those are the worst teams right now. But you go and now spread out that talent amongst more teams? Are you telling me there's that much more talent that isn't in Major League Baseball right now? That you can fill more rosters on more teams? I don't see it. I really don't. I really think what's better for baseball is some kind of a contraction of teams. And these teams in markets where the fans just don't care that the team is there, you either need to contract them and get rid of them, or move that team to one of these other markets and let them get a fan base. But don't add more teams to it. You don't need to expand. You have teams that could go into a better market and have a better fan base. Move Tampa Bay to Mexico. Move them to Montreal and give Montreal a team back. Big story in baseball this week, outside of that nonsense, was Albert Pujols. He passed as Ken Griffey Jr. officially for 6th all-time on the home run list. Now, in my opinion, Griffey doesn't get hurt when he joins Cincinnati and has all of those thigh, leg, knee injuries. He is the home run champion. He might not end up with 762 like Barry Bonds, but to me, he would have been the greatest home run hitter of all time because Griffey never doped. He never took any supplements. He didn't take HGH. He didn't have any of that going on. Like Albert Pujols, who has now passed him with 631 home runs. Above Albert Pujols, the next guy is Willie Mays at 660. We'll see if Albert can get there. It's definitely not going to be this season. We'll see if he comes back next season. 29 more home runs. We'll see. Maybe he gets himself into the top 5. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. He's had a great career. He kind of fell off when he got to Los Angeles, sure. Not the same player he was with St. Louis by any means. But you look at guys ahead of him, Alex Rodriguez, not in the same league as Ken Griffey Jr. or Albert Pujols as a hitter. Sure, he hit a lot, but we all know the issues and the stuff that he was involved in as a player. Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, neither one of them had to do that stuff. And I don't blame the guys that did because they weren't the only ones who were doing it. It was a culture in baseball at the time. Guys were trying to figure out a way to get a leg up on their competition. And that's what the business side of sports forced these guys to do. The money, the greed, the selfishness, the media attention, the weakness that is a human flaw. No excuses. It just is what it is. The hitters weren't the only ones doing it. In fact, there was bad hitters who were doing it. So to get on the good hitters because they did it also, or because they did it because somebody else was getting attention that they weren't, that's just ridiculous. So to me, Bonds is the home run champ, 762. But Griffey, he doesn't get hurt. He's the best home run hitter of all time, in my opinion, who's now in 7th place. But congratulations to Albert Pujols. You're having a great career. Great announcement. I don't know how many of you still watch WWE or remember WWF or how corny sometimes the women's division used to be and women's wrestlers used to be. But the product they are putting on right now is pretty amazing. In my opinion, they're carrying the brand right now. They've got some talented women, very athletic, some with famous family members, attractive, doing their things, showing women power, helping young women all over the place. The likes of Alexa Bliss, Alicia Fox, Bayley, Ember Moon, who's coming up, Mickey James, who's come back, Natalya, who's part of the Hart family, the Neidhart, Jim the Anvil is her dad, Nia Jax, Ronda Rousey is doing her thing over there as she gets acquainted, Sasha Banks, Asuka is a good talent, Becky Lynch, Carmella's a champion right now, so you got to give her that. Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte Flair, is 100% made her own name, was in the Body issue recently. Naomi is a great talent. The Bella Twins. I mean, it's just amazing the talent that women's roster has. You got to give it up for them. It's epic that they get their own pay-per-view in October. That's a huge announcement, especially in the world of wrestling, which most of us, those of us who watched it as a kids or grew up on it or have watched it at different points in our life, you remember the women as the girls on the outside, banging on the mat, getting involved, maybe raking eyes, looking pretty, but not really doing anything. And then you remember the old WWF wrestlers where it wasn't very athletic and it didn't look very smooth. And then you kind of had some who came along through the Attitude Era in the late 90s, 2000s, that really were good, but there wasn't enough of them to have an impact. We're now seeing that impact. And I think it's pretty special. I think it's great for young girls everywhere. To see that you can be strong, you can be powerful, you can, be athletic and pretty at the same time. You can be secure in your body. You can be a Nia Jax and be a role model for so many young girls. So it's pretty cool. Next show, we're going to get to the NFC South breakdown. Okay, we're going to do our NFC South breakdown next time. We got to everything we were going to talk about on this show. Super proud of the women and the WWE for doing their thing and carrying the brand right now. Go over to RealDealSportsTalkWithKP.com. Sign up for the Fantasy League if you want to be part of KP's Showdown. The league ID is 6164249, and the league password is OnePride. You can find all of that on the website. Until next time, you know how we do. Just be real.
I might have to punch though, honestly, on some of this shit. Yo. Simple-minded young Negroes is rhyming sounding like Migos. I hate the fact that some people actually think we're rapping equals while it's obvious. When it comes to rhyming, I'm Spartacus, and I will slaughter kids for the simple joy of the audience. While you soft as vaginas with panty liners inside them, I think it's time for your monthly cycle, but I'm no gynecologist. I'm a fucking rhyming smith. I can forge your verses harder than a diamond is. I'm absolutely dominant. Do us all a big favor and crumple up that little paper you write and launch that shit into space like it was a fucking rocket, cause ain't nobody rocking it. I got a zero tolerance for any whack shit in my environment. Call the firemen to pull the fire alarm. I hope you fireproof the booth, cause I'ma fire off these bars like a fireball. Trap music's influence has impacted the movement, trying to bring it back to the future like Marty McFly. I'm sitting high in DeLorean, riding flying at 85. Travel back in time to where motherfuckers could really rhyme. Yeah, I said I'll travel back in time to where motherfuckers could really spit.